Hi, I'm Neal Brodsky, and welcome to the One Jewish Family podcast. And joining us today are Jan Lee, who is a writer focusing on Jewish culture and history, and from Gondar, Ethiopia, Ambanesh Tekeba. And Ambanesh had been the head of the community, the Jewish community in Gondar, and now works with Meketa, based in London, that is doing wonderful work with children and families in Gondar, Ethiopia. Also with us is Avi Bram, coming in from the UK, and he, welcome Avi. Internet has just come back recently in Ethiopia. And Ambanesh, I think we're going to start with you here. This is the first time we've had someone on since the internet is back here.
Yeah.
And what can you tell us about what's happening right now in Gondar to the Jewish community and how things are going right now?
Okay, thank you, Neal. Yeah, I'm Ambanesh from Gondar, and I was the head of the Jewish community last year, and now I'm working with Meketa. In Gondar now, especially for the Jewish community, is very difficult time because of the virus, the coronavirus, because most of the Jewish community don't have a proper job. Most of them are daily labor, so it's very bad for them to find a work now. And also, as you know, mostly the Jewish community are living together with a lot of people is living together, so it's very difficult.
Ambanesh, what we hear is that sometimes families are living together in a room that is 3 meters by 3 meters. And can you tell us something about the...
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about how the young people are doing who were in the after-school program that Meketa runs in Gondar, and how they're doing now?
In Meketa After School Club now, the children is at home, but the teachers are preparing the worksheets, and the students come and bring the worksheets and they are reading. But it's difficult to come to the club. We cannot giving a service, so they are coming a long way to work, but still they are coming and they are bringing the worksheets. They are reading.
I'm wondering if Avi or if others can share some of the photos that we have right now that might be available. I don't know if you have them right now available. Avi?
Sorry, just give me 5 minutes, Neal. I'll be happy
Okay,
to
not
share
a
a few
problem.
photos. Yeah.
I want to invite Jan also to feel free to ask questions from your research in terms of what's happening right now.
Sorry?
Jan, I wondered if you had any questions for Ambanesh.
Well, I was going to wait till I'd heard a little more. Ambanesh, nice to meet you. I think we met over the phone one time some years ago when I was doing another article for B'nai B'rith. I understand that I understand some of the challenges that are being faced right now and how difficult it is. One of the questions I had was, are there other aid organizations assisting, or is it's One Jewish Family and Meketa is assisting? Are there any other organizations that are helping to fill in with the food and such?
So Ambanesh's picture right now is frozen. I'm just going to answer that question. One Jewish Family provides information about the current situation in Ethiopia and the wonderful opportunity when people make Aliyah to get to Israel. And the organizations right now that are providing some funding are the North American Conference on Ethiopian Jewry and also Struggle to Save Ethiopian Jewry. Those are based in the United States, and in terms of NACOJ, also Canada. And next week we will have on Barbara Ribakov, the founder of a North American Conference on Ethiopian Jewry, in the podcast. So it looks like Ambanesh is coming back. Let's see if she can hear us.
Thank you.
Ambanesh, can you hear us?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm hearing now.
Ambanesh, also because you now work with Meketa and working also with delivery of social services and geared to having people be self-sufficient. And I'm just wondering what you're seeing right now in terms of the families and what may be some of the need now, because we hear that some people can't work, people who had been working in construction, some of the construction projects, probably most of them have closed down. What are you seeing on the social service side of things and the need?
For the social service, now we're working mostly the sponsorship service. And,
so for those people who've just tuned in, I want to let you know that we're speaking with Ambanesh Tekeba from Gondar, Ethiopia, and the internet there is often an issue. And so that's what we're experiencing right now. I'm going to be turning this over to Hadassah Gotlieb from Israel, who volunteered in Gondar in 2019, where we met. And I'm wondering, Hadassah, as from the standpoint of what you have been doing in Israel, and also what you're hearing from some of the people who have family left in Ethiopia, I'm just wondering what your thoughts might be at the moment.
It's a very good question. Well, first of all, I think there's a lot of concern, specifically, especially because of the internet issues that they've been having recently. As you mentioned in the beginning of this podcast. So it's not very clear what was happening in Ethiopia, not with the different process that were going on, not with COVID. So there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of just like nerves and uncertainty. But in general, it's just that because the healthcare systems aren't as efficient as they are in other countries in the world, there was a lot of concern for the situation. In Gondar, thank God, I've heard the corona the corona has not gotten there yet. In Addis Ababa, it has arrived, and the second it hits the community, who knows what will happen, because of the very small housing units and the fact that everyone is very, very close together. And in order to protect them from that, there's been a quarantine. There's been isolation in the entire country. So they, as Ambanesh mentioned before, that it's almost impossible to go outside. So there isn't any income. The families aren't getting enough food. It's just a very difficult situation. I'm sure that Avi and Ambanesh will be able to speak about that a little bit more. But regarding the families, as I said, they're just sitting here and waiting for more information. It's scary. It's scary. I've also been worried about the people there because there just has not been any connection until probably last week.
Thank you. Avi, I'm wondering from the UK there whether you have some photos and could speak a little bit about what you've heard and what you're seeing.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like you've disabled screen share, but if you can enable that, I've got some photos ready. Just to pick up on what I think Ambanesh was saying when she was cut off. Yes, it's been difficult. There's much less employment in the town. Many people are staying at home as a precaution. She did tell me today, actually, there are now 6 cases identified in a hospital in Gondar. So although it doesn't seem to be widespread in the town yet, there is, of course, a good chance that it will now spread through the town. But yeah, to be honest, all these restrictions have been placed for a number of months already as a precaution. So although they might have held off the spread up until now, it has meant, certainly for people who don't have a fixed job, a formal job, it's kind of meant a loss of income, or in some cases just a complete absence of income, like you're literally having to sit at home. And there have been some food distributions. You mentioned NACOJ, of course Meketa as well has also been providing food to some of our beneficiaries, but it's not something we can do every day. We're talking about a huge need. But shall I share photos now, by the way? Oh, sorry, Neil, you're still muted.
Okay, hopefully the share screen thing has just been, I'm not sure whether you can do that. Can you do it now?
Yes, I think I see that. Is that shared?
Yes, thank you. We're seeing it.
Great. So this is just to illustrate the distribution of worksheets. So although we can't teach in the classroom, we have been able to give textbooks and worksheets out the library so that the children's education isn't completely stopped, as a measure. I also want to show you this great photo here. Is that coming up? That's the distribution of face masks just this week. So in order for those children to come to the club or to receive textbooks, etc., even to leave the house now, they must be wearing a face mask. That's a new regulation in Gondar. So we've been passing them out so that our children are able to do that, our beneficiaries. Yeah, that is how we're trying to continue some of those activities. Just a great photo there of everyone with their new face mask. I just wanted to share that. As we said, although the education side obviously is very important, there are some who are in a more dire need, even just for basics of food and essentials. And that's why we are looking for sponsors, people who are willing to sponsor a child to ensure that them and their family have enough kind of food and shelter for the month. Ambanesh, I think you're back with us now.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick
Yeah,
up?
back.
Yeah, Ambanesh, do you want to say more?
Sorry?
Do you want to say more about the sponsorship?
Yeah, I was starting to tell about the sponsorship. We have about 80 sponsor families in total, and still they get monthly aid for the sponsorship. It's covering for the house rent, but as I explained, the last months we deliver food for our beneficiaries, and now we will give them food. And still we have another family who need help, especially in this time. We have one baby who is a 3 months baby, and when he delivered, the mother passed away when he was 3 days, and he doesn't have a father. The father is not living with him, so the baby is living with his uncle and a wife. So he needs help, and Meketa is covering his medical expenses. And the last 3 months, we are paying his milk, because he should take only powder milk. So he needs help not only for this time, he needs to be sponsored. So if anybody can sponsor him, and also we have the other families who needs help. So if anybody can sponsor and can help by every project, they can contact Meketa. I want to tell this.
Thank you. We'll put up Meketa contact information up on the podcast general about page. Thank you so much. Can you tell us also about what it's like then? How do you, as a social service worker now for Meketa, visiting with the families, how does that work? And because I know that this is a very rigorous program in terms of child sponsorship and how you look after the families. Can you tell us a little bit about what your day looks like when you do that kind of work?
Yeah, for the sponsorship family, we are visiting them every 6 months. If there is no special thing, but if they have a problem, me and my staff go and visit them. But if there is no problem, we are visiting them every 6 months and reporting about the child, about the family, and we are covering all the family of medical expenses. Yeah, like this. But in this time, we are not visiting them, but we have to meet students in the school when they're coming to take the worksheets. We're looking them, and if there is any problem, they're contacting us by phone, and we're visiting.
Thank you. And of course, everyone wearing masks now in Gondar.
Yeah.
And what was it like when the communications were cut for a long time with internet? That must have been difficult. What was it like?
Yeah, it's difficult, especially for us. We are working with Meketa, so we should have internet and to contact them. But for other people, it's okay. The internet's not needed here. But anyway, it's difficult to working without internet. But it comes back. Still, it's not strong, but that's okay.
This is the best internet we've ever had between Ethiopia
Yeah.
and us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming and going, the internet, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. So, how are you? How's your family? How are you and your family? I know you headed up the Jewish community, and then you had an addition to your family. How is your family doing?
Our family is okay because we have a job, and our family is okay, but the other Jewish family is living very bad. It's not easy to afford living, so we're okay.
Avi, do you want to talk at all about other Meketa programs in terms of the support activity, or Ambanesh, you could tell us, whoever wants to speak?
I could just mention, Ambanesh, you go ahead.
Okay, the other Meketa activities are projects to workers. In this time, we stopped working on new projects, but we have different projects like Alone and the sewing. We have 4 sewing people who get 6 months.
While we're waiting for Ambanesh's sound to come back, what? While we're waiting for
pick up if you like.
Thank you, Avi.
Yeah.
And there's a better sewing machine as Alone. Sorry.
So yeah, as Ambanesh is mentioning, there's a particular project where we gave training for 4 people to work as tailors, and at the end they also got a loan so that they could buy their own sewing machine. And you know, we're very proud that they've all then been able to go on and work for themselves, you know, as tailors, I guess you could say, doing repairs and also sewing new clothes, dressmaking and so on. That's a great example. Our other livelihoods have been, you know, in baking, woodcraft, hairdressing, barbers, and another number of other occupations and small businesses as well, as we provided microloans for people to start or expand their business and improve their income. And a few of those people have been able to continue working at this time. Obviously, some of them are not, and in any case, of course, we've frozen the loan repayments for the microloans. You know, we're not expecting anyone to pay back at this time, but we are still supporting them, and those who are able to continue their work, you know, say if they're selling vegetables or something, an essential task which has to carry on at this time, then our livelihood manager, Abraham, continues to provide support and sort of tries to help them to make the most of their business at this time.
Right. You know, when we were in Gondar last summer, there was the possibility to see the weavers making talitot. And so can people get now through Meketa talitot for their themselves or for their b'nai mitzvah children?
Yes, I should have mentioned the talitot, of course. So yeah, the weaver continues to work, although his work is also interrupted, but he's able to work from home. Please do get in touch with Meketa if you would like a talit handmade in Ethiopia by a member of the Jewish community. What's been really a lovely silver lining is that in the past few months there's been a couple of bar and bat mitzvahs where the bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah themselves have worn a Meketa talit and you know, and have fundraised for us as part of their bar mitzvah challenge, if you like. So we do still have a stock and we can still provide some if you get in touch with us.
And Avi, also, I'm going to show you something of what's on. I'm just going to admit Ambanesh is coming back. And I don't know if you can see what's on my head here.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, so that's a kippah which was made in Gondar. And I'm wondering if those are also available through Meketa.
Yes, absolutely. There might be more of a delay as it's harder for us at the moment to get things out, but please do get in touch. As I say, we do have a stock, so there are some items that we have in the UK and can easily send, you know, to the US or to Israel as well. We can easily post those out. If you have a custom order, you know, and we are used to doing custom orders of 200, 300 for a wedding, then let us know. We'll do what we can, but it may take a few months because of the difficulty of getting things out.
Thank you. Ambanesh, are you back with us now?
Yes. Yeah, I'm back.
Good. Okay. Is there anything else? You know, this podcast is being seen in different parts of the world, and in the United States, in Israel, in the UK. And I'm wondering if you had to deliver one message that you wanted to say today, what would it be?
Yeah, my big message is helping about the Jewish community, especially in Aliyah, because all of the Jewish in Gondar and Addis, when they are coming from their village, they expect they are going to Israel directly, not to living in Gondar. So if anybody can help about Aliyah and to push the government to take Israelis So please do your best. And also when they are living here, they need help also. So if they can help them by any means, please help us. I want to tell it. I want to ask all the people.
Thank you, Ambanesh. I want to mention that the film The Passengers, which features two young men, Gezain Derebe and Demos Debosh, who were in Gondar and families in Gondar, and they're now in Israel. That film is being shown now across the US, and just want you to be aware of that, and just that memory of what it was like when Gezain and Demos said goodbye going to Israel. Can you describe that a little bit, what it was like when a family gets to go to Israel? Ambanesh?
Yes, sorry?
I know. So we're aware also that the small number, about 35 people, came in recently to Israel. And what's it like when a family hears the news that they're going to be going to Israel? What's it like?
When we hear it every time, we are feeling alone here, and everybody wants to go to their families in Israel. So it hurts us. It's not easy to explain that, but yeah, everybody would like to go. First, not to staying back. So yeah, we are feeling bad.
But Ambanesh, for the family who leaves, how do they celebrate, or how do they say goodbye to everyone?
Which families?
The one that leaves when they're ready to leave.
Yeah, mostly when they are going, they have to prepare some food for other families here. But and this time, nobody's doing that. Just to say goodbye and to leave.
So normally they would celebrate, they would have a party, but at this time it's not possible.
Yeah, but on the party it was difficult. Most of the people is crying when somebody is going. The other who left here is feeling very bad, and also the people who is going to meet the others here. So it's very difficult to explain. Yeah, it's not easy.
So for the last 5 minutes today, I want to invite anybody who wants to speak up, ask a question, anything you'd like to say.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question to Avi and Ambanesh. Ambanesh, you mentioned when the Jews came from the villages to Gondar and Addis, and it made me think, why are they in the situation that they're in now? Like, what brought that on? That they need so much. I mean, it's known that Ethiopia is not the wealthiest country in the world, but you obviously have a lot to do, and I want to know why specifically the Jews are in need of that help.
I'm sorry, I'm not clear.
Feel free to speak in Hebrew or any other language, and we can do simultaneous translation into English.
I just from what I heard and learned, the Jews are in a very specific, difficult situation because of their status as citizens or not citizens. That when they came from the villages, there was some kind of problem with paperwork or some kind of policy that when they arrived in the cities, they were not accepted as full citizens, and then they wouldn't get help from different programs that generally other citizens would receive. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, about specifically the situation of the Jews. Why is it like that? Is my question clear?
Ambanesh, we also hear that
Avi?
when people come in, we also understand that sometimes people can't get identification cards. The Jews who come in to Gondar cannot get them. Can you tell us a little bit about whatever you want to around that and what Hadassah said?
Was identification card, say? Sorry?
Yeah, why they can't register with the Kabbalah to get the Kabbalah ID. Yeah, so maybe I could say, yeah, there is this issue that moving from the villages into Gondar or to Addis, many of the newly arrived Jews were not able to register as local residents. There's a specific ID card that is issued by the local authority, which they were not able to get. And without that, they're not really eligible for the support, you know, the kind of safety net, social payments that the very poorest people in that neighborhood will receive. So that's the main issue. Why then? Yeah, generally, it's an issue of discrimination, I guess, or perhaps the local authority just doesn't want to have more poor people on its books. But either way, that means that many of them have been left out of this kind of, yeah, social payments. It also makes it harder for them to do other things, you know, to rent or to get a formal job and so on without that ID.
And we understand also that sometimes people, Jewish people who come into Gondar are charged higher rents. And we understand that that can be an issue as well as a way to get to Israel. And I also am aware that, I just want to mention one other thing. Meketa built its after school center further out in Gondar, outside the ring road. And it looked like, what was the reason for that economically to serve families?
Yeah, I mean, these are parts of the same issue. Originally, many of the new arrivals in the Jewish community wanted to live close to the synagogue. And then rents got more expensive there. Yeah, partly because of the crowding and partly because some of the landlords, either from discrimination or because they believed that that Jews must be getting money from their relatives in Israel and therefore could afford much higher rents. So they were kind of racking up the rents for these kinds of properties. So as the community has grown, many people have started moving further and further out to where rent is cheaper, even outside of the town boundaries, where you can rent houses there with no electricity or sometimes even no running water. So clearly the rent is cheaper there, but with a subsequent fall in standard of living, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it's not, like I say, it's not an exclusive problem to the Jewish community, but they are disproportionately facing those kinds of conditions. And Meketa, yeah, we did move our operations to an area that was further outside in order to serve that particular part of the Jewish community who were, as I say, living in lower rent, poorer quality accommodation.
And so some of those people who were living and needed that help with rent, those are some of the same people, I would imagine, that Meketa supports through its social service program and educational supports for children.
Yes, exactly. And we are a small charity, but we try and reach as many people in need as we can, and to kind of grow our services to encompass as many as we can. And yeah, it makes sense to do that in a neighborhood where there is, a lot of people having those problems, low quality housing, poor standard of education, and also a struggle to perhaps to access jobs and services that are in the center of the town.
Thank you, Avi. So we're going to be saying goodbye for today. Thank you for everyone who joined us. Ambanesh Tekeba from Gondar, Ethiopia, Avi Bram from the United Kingdom, Hadassah Gotlieb, who lives in Israel and currently is here briefly in the United States, and also Jan Lee, writer who focuses on Jewish culture and history. We look forward to your writings related to the Jewish community in Ethiopia as they wait to get to Israel. I want to say to everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us, and keep safe. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.